Hi everyone, this is Tony Wheel from well, not so sunny Florida, a little. We got rain and my plants are loving it. I have
Right.
so many figs growing on my little well, what is it? It's not even a tree, but it looks beautiful. We have with us today Gary and Katie and Sarah from Virtuous Unicorns. And my apologies for being late, but when we got talking with Gary before we start, that's dangerous. Oh my God, there was something that I actually wanted to start with because that was a quote from Lauren, and I share a lot of the things that Lauren Whiteman, she now took a name of her husband Ferris from the Natural Hygiene Group, and she said something that I was like, oh yeah, like, I have to share that one, and that is healing is not a mystery, it's your natural state.
Mhm.
When you feed your body what it was designed for, it responds with clarity, energy, and ease. So I thought it's not, we know it's not about the food, but I think when you feed your body, we think automatically about food, but it's not just the food,
Mm.
it is everything that you take in, everything that you use to nourish your body. And that can be, the correct breathing, the exercises, the air, being at the ocean, be grounding, hugging a tree, whatever. It's all part of feeding your body. So if you wanna say something, guys, you always when I'm quiet for more than 2 seconds, you have an opening to butt in.
Oh,
Oh, it's quiet for more than 2 seconds and nobody says anything, so I'll just
yep.
move on. Today we wanted to talk about allergies. And yeah, I'm referring again to natural hygiene because this is
Mhm.
a section from a lesson actually from the book Life Science. And it's 22 pages, and I'll promise we won't go through all the 22 pages. I won't do that to you. And I'm trying to pull it up. I had it on my screen a minute ago, of course. And then I got sidetracked, which happens pretty often. Let me find it. I don't want that one. Which one of you has suffered with allergies?
Not me.
Uh, Did you say not you, Gary?
Yeah, not me. No, never had allergies.
I still have allergies, but I only have them when I'm brushing the horses, handling the hay, and because we use like a blower to blow out the barn. So it's like it's when I don't know, like when there's a whole bunch of them in the air, I have like sneezing fits and then it passes, but I don't get like sinusitis or anything like that anymore. And I get like the roof of my mouth will itch, around my lips will itch. So those are my only signs and symptoms anymore. And sometimes it does get a little bit hard to breathe. But I mean, I had asthma growing up, but I still have inhalers to this day. I just don't use them. I guess they're more of just in case. But yeah, so it's only really when it's very what's the word I'm looking for? Like when there's a lot of it. I don't know.
An abundance.
Yeah, sure. There we go.
uh, yeah. So to me, like, because I grew up around farms and things and helped muck out stalls and throw hay and all that stuff. To me, that's not an allergy when you get bombarded and then your body clears itself. And when it clears itself, it's to me an allergy is an accumulation of things in the body that the body doesn't really know how to. It can't defend itself anymore. So every year when it comes back, it can get a little worse. And when they give us medications, it suppresses it. It doesn't stop the accumulation. We need to clean that out. That's why when you get a detox, you can go back. And sometimes you can eat food that used to bother you, but it's because you've cleaned the system out. And that's why we have to keep cleaning it out. Well, the sinuses are no different. Allergies and all that stuff. They're an accumulation of toxins in the body, like peanut allergies. Well, it's mold and it's building in the body and they're suppressing it. So the immune system is growing. So therefore it's a parasite. It's growing. And as it grows, it becomes more and more dangerous, and you have to have stronger and stronger medications. Where if you just cleanse your body, and now they're finding out that the vaccines from years ago are actually causing that issue with the mold growing and the peanut allergies. The peanut thing was in the shot and it overloaded people's systems. And now they can't even walk into where there's dust of a peanut or a butter knife that, even though it went through the washer and they had spread peanut butter with it, they can have a reaction just from that clean knife. So those
Wow.
are things we have to be careful of.
Oh, yeah, those are allergy. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I was thinking like when people suffer their seasonal allergies, but
right.
anymore I don't even see seasonal. It's almost like they have it all year round. They have
Yeah,
people on allergy pills all year round.
yes.
And my husband even was getting allergy shots
Oh,
and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, I mean, we already know you have like the non-alcoholic fatty liver. We already know other stuff. I mean, but again, the doctors are only doing what people are willing to change, and most people are not willing to change. So the doctors are doing the
right.
best they can for people to survive these.
I mean, that is definitely true. They're
Hmm.
using the system that was created and they're educated in. So when people go there, because they don't know what else to do, they get
Yeah.
medication. And the
Yep.
medication works on one level and really does not work on the other level where it's going to keep growing. It's going to keep accumulating. And you need to get in there
Hmm.
and clean that out. But yeah, they're finding out it's from the shots. And I don't know about this round. I'm just saying it was from shots from the past. Like,
Yeah.
and they have 70, I think, more coming
Oh, geez.
to add to the
Yeah.
list.
Wow.
The good thing is that this lesson, and this is actually a lesson from that's written a long time ago. And it was interesting for me to see that when I read an estimated 40 million Americans have hay fever, another 9 million suffer from asthma, and between 10 and 20 million have had hives at one time or another, and another unknown number have food allergies, reactions to insect sting, or occupational related allergic disorders, and over 80 million people suffer allergies.
Wow.
Scientists estimate that 1 in every 3 Americans will develop hay fever, asthma, hives, or some other allergy at some point in their lives. These scientists say that they believe they will have the word that we cannot even say, the cure for allergies in perhaps 5 to 10 years. While hygienists have no cures, allergy sufferers do not have to wait 5 to 10 years to terminate their suffering. And the purpose of this lesson is to enable sufferers to rather quickly overcome their problem. It
Mhm.
will explain what to do so that allergy symptoms never again are experienced. And scientists feel as though allergy is now one of the best understood conditions since they discovered the antibody antigen theory. One might ask, if they understand this condition so well, why is it that 1 in every 3 continue to suffer from this disease under their care? Hygienists do not have allergies. The scientists further say that their treatments for allergies are far better than they have ever been and far more effective. How effective can the treatment be when not one of the patients ever regained their health from such treatment? When they are merely holding forth a hope for a cure 5 to 10 years down the road. I mean, I don't know when this was written, a while ago, but I have not heard of a cure other than, and there is no such thing. Anyway, scientists claim that they understand allergy is proven a lie by the fact that they have no solution. If they understood allergy problems, they'd already readily solved them, as have hygienists. Sufferers would be guided to a solution in a few days to a few weeks. This lesson presents a comprehensive solution, and any medic who understands less than this really understands nothing. Sorry, medical industry. This is only for entertainment purposes, people.
Yeah.
We do not have any medical claims,
No.
only entertainment purpose. Be aware. Okay, the medical community is constantly fighting against germs that consistently wage war on human flesh. This is a completely false idea since germs or bacteria are a normal and integral part of the body and perform important and useful symbiotic functions. They do not attack us. Instead, bacteria flora works for the welfare of the body. Physicians explain that the immune system protects and guards against harmful foreign invaders. Allergies occur, they say, when this immunological defense system becomes overzealous and tries to protect us from things that don't usually harm us. Dr. Sheldon Speckner, a Los Angeles allergy physician, says, when the immune system attacks and destroys a dangerous bacterium or virus, that's great. But when it attacks pollen, dog dander, or chocolate ice cream, that's an allergy. Okay? White blood cells do have the property to engulf and destroy spent cells, viruses, bacteria, and other cellular constituents, no longer useful to the organism. Unwholesome foods, such as chocolate ice cream, yum, will eventually result in toxicosis, that will soon create the need for an eliminative crisis, which is termed disease. Mucus secreted due to toxicosis will sensitive membranes linings, rendering them more sensitive to elements such as pollen, but the body does not turn against itself. The body always strives toward the welfare of the organism. So please, everyone, get that into your mind. The body never turns against itself. We don't have, the body attacks itself, and we have an autoimmune disease. Okay, a recent newspaper article stated that as many as 4,000 people die of asthma every year. This article further stated that nearly 200,000 hospitalized patients suffer allergic drug reactions, there's an allergy too, annually, and an additional 50,000 are put into the hospital because of the drug reactions. As you can see, the cure is much worse than the disease. Entertainment purposes, listeners. Below is a quote from the same newspaper article. Because allergens are basically harmless, why does the body react to them in such a way as to hurt itself? In quotes, scientists now think that the IgE antibody defense mechanism originally evolved to protect us from such parasites as hookworm. But because parasites no longer are a problem for Americans and the peoples of other industrialized nations, the powerful IgE antibodies have turned their attention to pollen and other allergens, mistaken them for parasite-like enemies. The above statement demonstrates ignorance of physiology and the body's innate wisdom. It is based on superstitious notions from primitive times when it was believed that evil spirits were the cause of illnesses. There has been a time like that too. Well, maybe there are still evil spirits. Our faculties do not turn against us. If they did, every human and animal would demonstrate these symptoms, as we all possess the same mechanisms within our bodies. And it's nice that he even mentioned the animal world because I had cats that actually started to have human diseases, and that was just because of the wrong foods. And yes, even my cats got the wrong foods.
Hmm.
So that was more than 2 seconds, so nothing. I'll move
Yeah.
on.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, we just led down the road uh, to dis-ease in the body. Everything on Earth is frequency, and petroleum-based drugs, they can they suppress the body's ability to eliminate. So therefore, the core issue, we talk about that a lot. The core issue is enhanced through the dis-ease in the body because it's not being allowed. We're not eliminating that. Uh, and in the suppression, it doesn't make it go away. It just settles it down, and it's in the background in the lymphatic system. It keeps building. You know, the other night, so I've been doing a lot of meditation, a lot lately, and the breath is the engine of the body. I was explaining to a man the other day at one of the concerts that my friends put on here. I'm in Cortez, Colorado right now, and Jamie and the Dreamers. I'm staying with them, and we're doing breath work and qigong, uh, and there's a festival coming up that I'll be uh, doing there. And what's interesting about that is it's at 10,500 feet. So breath is really important there because there's not a lot of oxygen. So I'm learning right now the best way to acclimate people to that higher elevation in breath work without discharging the oxygen from their body. It's the accumulation of the oxygen. Most of us are oxygen deprived. You know, we're shallow breathing, cause most of us, because we're watching the media. And there was somewhere else I was going to go with that, and I can't remember what it is now. But it's extremely, extremely important to take a step back. And that guy that I was talking to, I asked him if he understood, you know, like American motors, the engines in cars and vehicles and things. Back in the day, before they were fuel injected, they had a carburetor. Well, if you take the air cleaner off, and he actually hugged me and thanked me for this because it's such a simple thing. You take a piece of cardboard, once you take that air cleaner off, you have your carburetor there, and the air is being pulled down through that carburetor into the motor. And the more air you can get down in there, the more horsepower it has because you're building its inner pressure. You slide that cardboard across that carburetor, and it's going to get to a certain point, and that engine's going to start running rough. And it's going to run rougher and rougher until you go all the way across, and the motor stalls. Well, your airway is your carburetor. And most people are lacking oxygen. That's the biggest thing because it goes right into your immune system. Allergies are an immune system issue. The immune system is being attacked and it can't defend itself. And the more it grows inside the body because you're suppressing it instead of releasing the toxins that were in there, as it starts to grow, you get sicker and sicker, and you need stronger meds and stronger meds. Um, And that I mean, you can't break it down any more basic than that. I don't think. If somebody can, I'd love to see it because I'd love to share that information with people because it's not about anyone being wise or anyone being, we're just beings. You know, it's be, do, have. Be the person you need to do the things you need to have the things you want to have. And it doesn't matter what it is, if it's a relationship, the relationship between you and your body, between you and your doctor, between you and your spouse, whatever it is, that's a universal law. We cannot break that law. We cannot break the oxygen law, the hydration law, the nutrition law, grounding to the earth. I mean, these are all basic things, movement and rest. And when the trees start, or whatever it is that you're having issues with, it's just an accumulation that you haven't had the opportunity, or nobody's giving you the knowledge of how to remove that. And you remove that through detoxification. Okay, so I'm going to shut up now before I talk the whole show.
I'm gonna let you do that at some point. Just talk, talk for 60, 90 minutes and I'll just
Yeah.
keep quiet. I'm not going to read all 22 pages here because that would take us a few hours. I go to this section of allergies, but there is a lot more that explains how this works. And you already took part of that, Gary, because you already explained actually in a few sentences most of it. But yeah, let's read this out loud for now. Most people welcome spring and summer and look forward to these months as the best time of the year. To most people, the first signs of spring brings joy and anticipation of outdoor activities, beautiful spring flowers, the opportunity to garden and enjoy the fresh produce from their backyard. Some, however, dread this time of the year because they merely look forward to feeling miserable and sick until the leaves fall and winter has once again arrived. These people
Mhm.
are said to be allergic. They are sensitive to pollens, weeds, grasses, trees, dust, insects, and assorted other things in our normal environment. Typical symptoms include sneezing, wheezing, watery eyes, itchy eyelids, and the like. Other symptoms may include redness and inflammation of the skin with itching and draining of fluids. Now, we always say that disease is abnormal. And all disease, whether it is a cold, flu, asthma, or allergy, is abnormal. The body always tries to maintain a state of health, which is normal. If the need arises, the body is capable of taking measures to maintain this state through the extraordinary elimination. To effect this, the body institutes a healing crisis, which we call illness or disease. When toxic waste products and toxic ingesta accumulate in the tissue beyond the body's toleration point, an effort will be made to expel them through various channels. These channels are the skin, lungs, mucous membranes, bowels, kidneys, etc. Individuals who are said to be allergic are experiencing a perpetual healing crisis by way of the mucous membranes of the nose, throat, bronchi, or through the skin. The toxins being voided via this route sensitize these organs so that pollen, dust, hairs, etc. initiate a defensive reaction, such as sneezing, runny nose, etc. The pollen is thus not a primary cause, but an exacerbating factor. Only some people are sensitive. Does it make sense that people should be allergic to things in their normal environment? If pollen, trees, flowers, ragweed, grasses, etc. are poisonous, should not everyone be affected? These items are part of our environment, and we live symbiotically with all plant life and its effluvia. I have not heard that word before. Plants are not something for us to avoid and dread, but to enjoy and appreciate for their beauty and usefulness. We also live in harmony with animal life. During the summer months, the allergic individual often seals himself indoors and attempts to remove himself from the substances to which he is sensitive. However, instead of searching out the items to which a person may be sensitive, attempts should be made to discover the reason for this abnormal sensitivity. Now you have the antibody antigen theory. The development of the antibody antigen theory was presumed primarily on the idea that bacteria and viruses cause disease and that we must somehow create immunity from the invasion of these agents. The antibody antigen theory also gave scientists a basis for the practice of vaccination. According to the generally accepted medical theory, the immune response resists invasion by infectious microorganisms. Two immune systems are distinguished. In each, a different population of lymphocytes is activated, and a different agent combats the invasion. In one, the B cell, the response is mediated by proteins called antibodies. In the other, the T cell, the response is mediated by specialized cells sensitized to foreign substances. Well, I don't go further into this because it's got that, yeah, well, I don't think it's boring, but some may think it's boring. They want like, okay, now how do we fix this? So I have this as a PDF. So whoever is interested in reading through all of this, because we can do this in this short time, send an email to healthywithfruit at gmail.com. And the link is in the in the description of the video. It goes into a lot of these things. Well, here we have something underlying cause of allergies. And the interesting thing is, I had a mother who was allergic. She had hay fever. I had a sister who was very allergic to chocolate, and she kept eating it, even as a baby. So she was kind of born with it. My allergies didn't show up until I was in my 20s. I got asthmatic bronchitis and I was allergic to cigarette smoke. Well, duh. And fumes from gases from cars. So I was like, okay, I'll just stay away from cigarette smoke and I'll move to the country. I was living in a town that time. And I know if I cannot be around smokers, but nowadays actually who really can? But that's all. And it was like it stayed away because back then they wanted to put me on medication for the rest of my life because otherwise I would have that asthmatic bronchitis. They have a different word for it here. Bronchial, I think it's like bronchial asthma, and it's pretty terrible. I had for a week, I couldn't breathe, I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't lay down, I was sitting straight up in bed and I'm not one that goes to a doctor, not even as a kid or a young adult. And but after a week, it got so bad, and then they found out I had pneumonia. So probably all started with a cold, and it was just a big detox. And when you
Mm-hmm.
look back on all the things that you experienced and you learn all the things that what we talk about now, it's like, oh, now I know why I had that. That is why I find this whole journey
Mm-hmm.
unbelievably interesting. Okay, underlying cause of allergies. It is more important to know what makes one sensitive than to know what he is sensitive to. Most allergy sufferers have chronic catarrh and have had it for many years, even before manifesting signs of sensitivity. Even after the allergy season has passed, they still suffer from catarrh and experience frequent colds during the winter. What caused the chronic need for the body to eliminate its toxins in this manner? The causes may be many, but basically, it is unhealthful living that creates the problem. Overeating or eating in unsuitable combinations, lack of exercise, impure drinking water, living in unventilated houses. Don't we all? Well, yeah, not you, Gary. And probably not Sarah, who's outside most of the day. I do. Well, my house
Yeah.
is ventilated, so that's a good thing. But I'm inside a lot because, after 9, 10 o'clock right now, you cannot be outside. And yesterday it was over 100 degrees. And it's a sauna. Well, steam sauna, almost. Okay, living in unventilated houses or working and living in smoke-filled rooms, lack of sleep, and the rest or stress and
Mm-hmm.
emotional upset may be the underlying factors in the development of catarrh in the mucous membranes, resulting in sensitivity to certain irritants. The lining of the membranes become inflamed and very sensitive to irritation. Inflammation that renders the membrane abnormally sensitive to the normal elements of man's environment. Inflammation is a symptom of healing, and if causes are removed, healing will be swiftly complicated. If a person continues to live healthfully thereafter, there will be no further need for the disease healing process. Now, this is interesting because he mentioned here inflammation is a symptom of healing. And we always
Yes.
talk about inflammation is the sign that your body needs help, but it actually shows up as a healing symptom. What do you say,
Yes.
Gary?
So, so what happens is when we get cut, inflammation starts. This is duality of inflammation. Inflammation shows up to bring stem cells and blood and chemicals to heal that wound. But what's happening with an inflammatory disease is, and this is something that I just learned. So a cell has a cell receptor on it that goes, around its receptors. Right next to it are heat receptors. Now, a wound will get warm around it because it's just trying to bring things in to help that heal. But this is where the breath comes in because we're breathing in the atmosphere, the plasma, the electromagnetic field, the water that's in the air. We breathe it in and it goes into that cell receptor and it alkalizes and cools it because that heat receptor is right beside it. And it gets low on oxygen and hydration, okay, it starts to heat up and it fires that cell, creates heat and inflammation, and that's the inflammation we don't want. When we're hydrated and we're breathing and we're moving and resting, those cells stay cool and disease free. But when that hydration, nutrition, and the oxygen starts low, the cell gets weak because the immune system is weak, and these cells start to overheat, and it affects that cell, and that cell will get sick. And okay, so I don't know if you can hear me talk or not. Something's going on with my phone.
Okay, I thought it was
So
on my end.
what was it? Did I leave the chat?
No, you're still here. At least I can hear you.
Okay, okay. Because my phone's doing weird things, which it always seems to do. It must be inflamed. Because look at your phone. It's a cell and a battery. We're a cell and a battery. And when your phone overheats, it won't work anymore. Same thing in the body. Is that
Yeah.
little heat receptor that's on the side. When that starts to get too hot, it affects the cell, and the cell starts to lose its ability to protect itself because
Okay,
the
now
immune
give me the
system
connection
is.
to a yeah, Gary, now give me the connection then to a sauna. Why do people go to saunas? They're just overheating their bodies
Well,
to
they're
make the
overheating their
inflammation
body.
worse.
No, no, it's the opposite because you're hydrating, you're sweating, you're getting all those old toxins out. You're removing what's making the body hot by being in heat. And as you rehydrate, you're cooling the system. As you breathe, you're cooling the system, especially when you get out. So let's say that you were in a sauna at 105 degrees for 5 minutes. Can the body handle that? Yes. What if it was 5 years? What if it was 25 years? You wouldn't be able to handle it. That's what's going on inside the body. It can't handle the inflammation for that long. It gets hotter and hotter, and it starts to manifest into a frequency that causes disruption, dis-ease in the cell on a cellular level, because we're not breathing properly, not hydrating properly, and we're not nutrifying ourselves, getting the nutrients in that the body needs to survive and to function. Uh, I just this blew my mind. It was a couple of years ago, I think I saw this video. It was a holistic doctor saying that the body's only 60% water. 60%. We're like 70, 80, 90%. Matter of fact, in medical school, 50 years ago, they used to teach that the body was 90% water. And it's all because they keep shifting things. And the sad part is, as they shift, more people qualify for medication according to their, their numbers. And they don't really, they're not going to back down from that because it's more money. And what's going on in the world right now with this last thing that we just went through, the myocarditis and the inflammation in the body that's caused by these spike proteins. And if you watch, anything that will help to reverse that is now illegal, or we're told that it's not good for us. And we've been told that forever. Is an egg good for you or is it bad for you? That depends on where you go on the internet, right? Well, what they're finding is the yolk will break down the spike protein. And as soon as that became mainstream knowledge, the bird flu happened and they killed millions of birds, and eggs are whatever they are now because they don't want people eating eggs. And anything that comes along that does that, you watch, it will become something that you shouldn't do according to this current regime, this current system. And that, I mean, big pharma, because they're profit driven, and they have to. This is the other thing that really bugs me about corporations. They have to make a certain percentage of profit every year for the people that sit on the board, the investors, the stock market people. So they're going to do whatever they can because they can only do that for so long or they'll lose their company. I don't know if most people probably don't know that, but and if we don't stand up against that and realize it's the accumulation of things in the body because we're not breathing and hydrating and nutrifying ourselves properly, we're not resting properly. The same thing is happening to us. Our body is breaking down in ways instead of building up, and we want it to build up. That's Wellville is building health, and Hellville is tearing it down, even though in your mind you're doing exactly what you should be doing according to your doctor. I talked to a guy the other day. He's got type 2 diabetes. I said, we can get rid of that. Probably 3, 4 weeks, 6, depending on how well you want to stick to what we're going to talk about here. He got scared and left. Before he left, I said, how long have you been sick? He goes, my whole life. How long have you been going to doctors? My whole life. I said, don't you think there's a point there where you need to break the pattern and try something different? But he didn't.
Yeah,
And
they
he's
probably
almost,
think that you are some kind of a weird magician, Gary.
yeah,
Uh,
definitely. Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of the people,
that is scary. Some people just need
yeah,
their illnesses, and that is
yeah,
kind of sad. And I've experienced that quite often. And but yeah, we just hope that people are open enough to see and to
yeah.
feel how it can be to not be in pain or not be worried,
Mhm.
because in diabetes type 2, type 1 is no joke, but type 2 is
No,
definitely no joke either. And I had diabetes, and even way back, I thought I kept it under control with diet, but it was still like, 150, 180, and then I
Yeah.
started getting that racing heart and didn't feel good, and then it was like, okay, this is not good. Only when I left out all the fats in my diet, the fats and the proteins, I
Hmm.
got it down to 85. But only if I eat fats, then I will feel it. So it's, yes, but it is
It,
so easy to do. It can even yeah, you said, like up to 6 weeks. Yeah, 4 to 6 weeks, of course.
yeah.
But then they don't have that anymore. So now what? There's nothing to talk about. I'm sorry for people, who listen to this and have to hear that, but don't make your disease you. You are way more than your disease. Or do
Right.
your symptoms.
Right. And you listen to people's stories. Their stories promote some people, promote their dis-ease. And when something comes along or someone comes along or whatever it is, and you have that aha moment, but then the thought of you not having that anymore, because it's almost like it's a friend. It gives you something to talk about, even though it's uncomfortable and uh, it's consuming. It's all consuming. You relate with your dis-ease in your life instead of your life without dis-ease. And it's that simple to put that in your story. I may have type 2 diabetes right now, but through diet and breath and good education and paying attention, that will go away. They're not saying that. I have diabetes. I'm going to have it for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
medication is regulated my diabetes. Yeah, but your diet hasn't,
Well,
and it
there's
just
there's
gets worse and
something
worse.
there's something interesting. Now we talk about that, Gary. 6 years ago, when I first started with Dr. Moore, a little over 6 years ago, they actually had a lower diabetes formula to lower glucose, and it
Hmm.
has all the standard things in it. And but I got to a point, is like, I don't need that stuff. I don't need
Hmm.
that. I mean, because if you use that, that's something that can help you lower the numbers. You keep eating what you were eating and just rely on the yeah, call it, what do you want to call it, the pills, the supplements, to uh,
Hmm.
to keep it within normal range. That's not healing. If it would help someone, now we know that we can we cannot say cure. We do not say cure. We not say well, heal. Yeah, we can say that. From certain symptoms, without anything other than a correct diet and whatever else you need for a healthy body. Why would you want to have these pills to lower your blood sugar? And I don't know if that is the reason they took it off the market, but it hasn't been sold in the last 4 years. Has not been made anymore.
Hmm.
And I think that once we use the herbs, the kidneys, adrenals, endocrine, etc., to get us a jump start with our healing process. And then you'll see that none of these things you need, and even the herbs, you only use it for a short time. It's definitely
Right.
not an ongoing thing. And
Right.
so, yeah. Okay, let's go a little. I don't want to read about what not to do. I hope that's been on the screen for a while, that everybody was able to read it. If not, you just ask me to send it to you, um, because it goes into all the poisons that are put in our body, and that makes it just way worse even. So we'll keep going on to the bronchial asthma. That was actually the one that I earlier mentioned.
Mhm.
And I think when you have bronchial asthma, you know the symptoms. There is a lot of treatment, and the treatment they want to give me too, and uh, yeah, I lived for a while with somebody who had asthma. I actually, my previous landlord, the one we bought the house from, he had bad asthma and he takes medication, and but he also drinks about a liter of milk every day. I tried.
Mhm.
I tried. He was a nurse. He was a trained nurse.
Mhm.
So no, there's that. So he always has an inhaler with him, and they are not really helping. I mean, if
Mhm.
you have well, you can almost call it an attack like that, then I'm not saying don't even have that with you. We just have to go to the cause so you wouldn't have that anymore.
Right,
And
but they're important at that time.
yeah, they can be,
Mhm.
important until you really fix your diet. Now,
Mhm.
the cause of asthma to medical writers is hypersensitivity. And they divide the sensitivity into two classes: those sensitive to ingested substances such as oysters, meat, eggs, etc., and
Mhm.
those sensitive to air-carried irritants, pollen, uh, emanations from horses, cats, dogs, feathers, dust, etc. What is emanation, Sarah, from horses?
What is the word?
Emanation. Emanations.
I have
Eman
no idea.
oh,
For
okay.
horses?
Yeah, from emanations from horses.
Mm-mm,
Okay, well, we
It's
move on.
no idea.
According to
something they're
Dr. Phil,
eliminating.
I'm sorry?
It sounds like something they're eliminating.
Yeah,
That
Mm-mm,
maybe
never heard of it.
maybe part of the maybe there is a part of the word missing. I saw some other things that I had to fix in this lesson because elimination from horses. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that makes more sense. But
it does.
yeah.
I
I'm
wanted to
gonna
talk
look it
about
up.
the, yeah,
Yeah.
I even tried looking it up too, and nothing's coming up. But bronchial asthma, I was born with it. My lung actually collapsed when I was a year and a half old.
Oh,
And
Mm.
I think that actually has something to do with my mom's adrenals and stuff like that, because
yeah.
Mhm.
she has had issues with her autonomic system, like the breathing kind of stuff her whole life too. And even though it kind of sounds like it's starting to lead to like COPD kind of stuff, but um, I've I can't use that word either, but I no longer have symptoms of asthma unless, like I said before, I'm brushing a horse, doing hay, and cleaning the stalls and blowing out the barn. It's just so much of it just right there all together.
Right.
Yeah, I still would get the symptoms of that. But it's not sports induced, it's not exercise induced, nothing like that. But when I was little, yeah, it was definitely something. I was in the hospital for a while. But yeah, I definitely think it comes from my mom and the fact that everybody smoked back in the day. I mean, we used to play
Mhm.
in my grandmother's smoke rings. I mean, and
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. She'd blow smoke
Mhm.
rings for us. We put our arms through them, and
Yeah. My dad too.
even yeah, and even I mean, we even smoked as kids too. I mean, it was just something people did back then. And the doctor smoked, and he smoked on planes. He smoked
Mhm.
everywhere. So
Yep.
who knows if that all like really went into it? But also, my family's very tall. Even the women are like 5'10", but my mom and I are not tall.
Mhm.
So I'm sure that has something to do too with her. Um, oh, I just lost it. Her, what gland is that helps with your
Pituitary.
height? Pituitary. I
Pituitary.
almost said pineal. Yeah. So I'm sure it has
Yeah.
something to do with pituitary, her
Yeah.
adrenals, and
Mhm.
of course, if something's going with your adrenals, you got your kidneys right there too. So
Yeah.
we're working through all that. But yeah.
Yeah, and diabetes is a kidney, adrenal, pancreas issue.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
helping those uh, get back online, and it will heal it. The body heals itself. That's why I don't mind mentioning the word healing. I heal nothing except my own body. The body is the brains. All we have to do is give it what it needs, and it will regenerate itself back to health. And what we're not getting from doctors, and I don't think it's because they don't want to help, the system they're in won't allow them to. And and many of them don't know how, but a lot of doctors are leaving the profession now, and they're going into. There was one I read about. I think he was here in Colorado, actually. He built a greenhouse and started growing food, and uh, he started working with his patients with the food, and many of them are healing, and he is ecstatic because he has not had true healing or helping the body heal itself with the system he was in, because they suppress everything, and that does not get to the core issue, and they know that, and evidently they're perfectly fine with it, perfectly happy. And but in the meantime, the public suffers, and that's why we
Mhm.
need to stand up inside ourselves and be accountable and realize our job to keep the body healthy is very minimal. We breathe, we hydrate, we eat good nutrient dense food, we move, we rest, we ground. We have a great story. If you do
Mhm.
2 or 3 of those, your body's going to start to shift. And when people, and this is another thing too, a lot of times when we start to detox, we have a cold and flu like symptom, and it scares people and they stop doing it. And that's something that we really need to address and let people experience so that we can help them get through that. It's like doing breath work. I have a process that I do where we slowly bring people into it, like pressing on the down on the chest and moving the chest around because the fascia is so tight they can't take a full breath anymore. Uh, and if you're deprived of oxygen, I don't care what disease you want to list, that there are so many, and the breath, we're vulnerable to all of those in our weak spots. But we need to build that immune system, and our metabolism is all controlled by breath. We need belly breaths, nice long deep breaths, and uh, we can go into deep meditation. We can go into really sound rest for the body because we're also keyed up. uh, and just having people do 5 just slow breaths in through the nose, exhale twice as long out through the mouth, and it turns on your immune system. It calms the body. It turns your body's ability to heal. It puts it on high. It increases your metabolism and regulates and slows down the heartbeat. You can take your face and put it in ice water and be on a heart monitor, and you watch within seconds that heart monitor, it might be going beep, beep, beep. Well, with your face in cold water, not your hands, nothing, it'll start to slow down and it will go into a really powerful beat. But as the heart relaxes, the body is relaxing because it's the healer. It's the That's what the only thing in the body that actually generates energy is your heart. And being too much left brained, like we're trained in school, it kind of turns the ability for the heart to function correctly in the body. It shuts it off, which is bizarre, but that's what happens. And then you're controlled by that left side of your brain. And that's how we get hypnotized into thinking that the medical system is the do all be all answer to everything. And here we are thinking that. And now, according to the experts, 70% of the American population is in a chronic state of dis-ease of some kind or another, and they just put you on medication for the rest of your life. They don't teach you to breathe. They don't teach you to hydrate. Just those two
Well,
things are huge.
Gary, if it's not just the medical industry, I think part of that has now become also with all the supplements, and there is so much information that goes against what actually would be good for a person. I mean, somebody writes a book about the blood type diet, and now everyone is like, "Oh yeah, we need that, and otherwise I can't heal." Well, I'm blood type O, so I need to eat meat. I don't want to eat meat. I mean, how crazy is this?
Right.
And then you have one that says you need to drink what is it, like 16 to 32 ounces of celery juice every morning. Otherwise,
Hmm.
well, it actually hurts your body more than it
Yep.
helps.
Yeah.
And so there are many things. There are people that say, yeah, I'm on the Ayurveda diet and a ton of medical supplements for it, and they're not healing. And here we come with the most simple option for healing, actually, and we see that it works, but it is a big step to do it. I have to move on because
Yep.
I have clients soon after this. And you're saying here the underlying cause of bronchial asthma is a state of toxicosis, and that is actually with everything. It doesn't matter if it is your eczema, psoriasis, which I have. It goes away on 100% fruit. It comes back when I eat something I should not eat. And when we talk about yeah, contact dermatitis, also, because of a chemical irritant, we not only want to get the right food in our body, but whatever we put on our body, from shampoos to soaps to cleaners that
Mhm.
we use, we have to be careful with that. And it's the cosmetics, the household cleaners, etc., because they all have poisonous substances. Why? Like, I mean, I can clean with vinegar. I'm not
Mhm.
saying you should eat vinegar, but you can clean with it. Just
Mhm.
don't clean wood, which is porous, because you don't want to see that results. But all these poisons are a result and result in toxicosis. Sarah or Katie, do you have the article in front of you so that you could read it? I have to step out for a few minutes.
Yes, I do. Sorry,
Okay,
I was washing my hands real
okay,
quick.
go ahead.
And I will tell, where did we leave off?
But with eczema, that area, all these things, eczema hives. Please do talk about hives because I hear a lot of people talk about that.
Yeah, so I would probably just start with hives.
Okay. Do you want to do it, Katie?
Well, I can't scroll down. I
Okay.
guess.
I just pulled it up. Okay. Hives. Acute hives is generally recognized among the medical community as an antibody antigen reaction limited to the skin and subcutaneous tissue. It is often due to drug allergy, insect stings or bites, desensitization, injections, or ingestion of certain foods, especially eggs and shellfish. Some food reactions occur explosively following ingestion of only minute amounts. Others may occur only after overindulgences. It is thought by many physicians that hives may accompany or even be the first symptom of several viral infections, including hepatitis infections, mononucleosis, or rubella. However, such diseases only follow hives after they have been suppressed by drugs and the body finds other outlets for its toxin load. The secondary diseases are worse, are more toxins, as more toxins have accumulated and vital energy has been lowered through treatments. Chronic hives is due to the use of drug, preservatives, dyes, and other food additives which have overtaxed the body and resulted in chronic toxosis. I wanted, maybe it says it in here, but I had something life-changing happened to me years ago. And after it did happen, it was like there was a lot of crying involved in it and things like that. I had hives for over a week after that. And so it was like hives can also come through nervous system kind of breakdown stuff as well, or I don't know. I don't.
Oh, yes,
Anyway,
definitely through the
oh,
nervous system.
yeah. So I mean, it
The
took
nerve.
a long time for them to go away.
Hmm. Yeah, the more you pay attention to it and the more stress you have in your life, the worse they will get. Um,
Mhm.
and your immune system's just under your skin, and it's hot in that area, so it gives you a hive, right? And depending on what caused it or created it, what I've found is hot spots on the body, on the skin. You take a 6 pH water, because that's about the alkalinity of your skin, and you put water on it and it will take it away. It has not gotten rid of the core issue, but at least will get it off in your skin and then you can address it. And if it comes back, you just do it again. But that's the pH of rain basically is around 6 pH. Your lakes are around 6 pH. That's why it feels so good to go swimming. And when you get out, you feel your skin feels tight, and the coolness of the water starts to cool down your cells, and you just feel so good. Like since I've been here at Jamie and the Dreamers, they have a pool out back, and it's still pretty cold here. It's in the mountains, so we're doing anywhere from 2 to 4 cold plunges a day here,
Oh wow.
and
Yep.
it will, and I stay in maybe 10 or 15 minutes at a time,
Mm,
and
That's so
so
cool.
even when you get out when it's hot, your body is cool inside.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. So, and that's why it feels so good too, like even swimming in the rain or something like that too. But I always
yeah,
love walking around in the rain. I don't know. People think I'm weird, but I love it. The other
yeah.
thing that happened to
Well,
me too is
yeah.
after my stepdad passed away, I couldn't walk the next day. Like my back had completely given out.
Uh-huh.
And it was just such a traumatic experience
Yeah.
that I couldn't walk the next day. And yeah, it was, yeah. But after that, and then I could walk again. So it was weird.
Yeah. In that the small of the back and the hips, small of the back is lack of support.
Yeah.
So I could see where that would happen there. And the hips are fear of moving forward. So there
Uh,
was a little period there where you felt unsupported, and there was fear about moving forward. And
oh, yeah.
so it's good that you were able to get through that.
Yeah. Yes, it
Um,
was.
and you did it in a relatively small amount of time. You just needed time to think about it, but it was a definite blow to your system. Uh, so those, and we need things to distract us, because I mean, there's nothing worse than losing a loved one.
Yeah.
Somebody who's meant something to your whole life, but we carry them with us. They're
Hmm.
always there,
Oh, he's
and
very much there all the time. Like there, I mean, there's so many signs.
yeah, yeah,
So, well, that's good. Well, I'll
and that's
continue.
part of the healing process too.
It really is. I know we get such big feathers that I think that we're gonna like I'm gonna look up and there's gonna be birds without feathers around us half the time. I'm like, please quit plucking the feathers out of the bird. It's a little joke we have, but
Yeah.
all right, I'll continue on. The
All right.
symptoms.
Yep.
In hives, severe itching is followed shortly by the appearance of, I think that should say welts, but it says welts that may
Uh,
remain small or may enlarge. The larger ones tend to clear in the center and may be noticed first as large rings of redness and edema. Originally, crops of hives come and go. A lesion may remain in one site for several hours. Then they may disappear only to reappear elsewhere. I've never had any that sound exactly like that, where they become rings, really. Mine are just usually either small bumps or they're like larger bumps. Hives may occur following drug treatment or after ingestion, unwholesome foods such as eggs or shellfish. These agents possess toxic substances which the body must eliminate in order to preserve life. In some individuals, this elimination occurs through the skin in the manner called hives. This again is a healing crisis, one which we should cooperate with and never meddle with. In more chronic form, the skin disease is due to toxicosis, which has built up over a period of time due to unhealthy living habits. Other symptoms may occur after an emotional upset. Here we go. But this is not the primary cause. An emotional disturbance will not elicit hives in a healthy individual. Toxosis must be present in order for the skin reaction to occur. This inflammation reaction is associated with a number of white blood cells, which are part of all the inflammation processes. They are part of healing and not turning against the body. As is said, this is false idea. The body does not turn against itself, but always strives towards what is best for the body as whole. Yeah, so I guess maybe I had something underlying at that time, and then
Mhm.
my reaction to the emotional upset then trigger my immune system and then something, I don't know. But I hope I don't have to experience it again to see if it comes true again, but we'll see. The
Right.
chemicals and processed foods. Many people demonstrate symptoms of hives after ingesting foods containing chemical additives. This is especially true of people who have hives nearly all the time. In a study at the University of Uppsala, Sweden, persons who had frequent cases of hives were tested with various substances. Half of them had adverse reactions to food dyes and preservatives in amounts that could easily be present in the conventional daily diet. Most of those who were hypersensitive to dyes and preservatives also reacted to aspirin. The chemicals which are added to processed foods are poisonous. Those people who showed symptoms of hives were eliminating these poisons through the skin. Others will eliminate these poisons through other means, and a healing crisis will not be in the form of a cold. I'm sorry, a healing crisis will be in the form of a cold or flu or something else. Processed foods, whether they have chemical additives or not, will result in toxosis when ingested. They are unbalanced in most, they are unbalanced in most, if not all, of their vulnerable nutrients have been destroyed. You should certainly not partake of processed foods. The symptoms of hives should not be suppressed through ointments or by any other means. We should instead remove the need for the disease by avoiding all processed foods and drugs and obeying the laws of health. Would anybody like to chime in after that?
Yeah, I was wondering what the laws of health are.
Hmm. Well, the only law of health that I know has to do with the body or with God, and the body was made to live in harmony with the earth. Allergies are the result of strain from the divine design through our food, our chemicals, and our habits.
Okay.
And yeah, so I mean, that's what I would think the laws of health are when you stray from what we are naturally
Right.
supposed to eat. It's the same as like
Right.
cats. When we give cats dry food,
Yeah.
they're straying from their natural habit, and what ends up happening to them? You get fleas, you get skin allergies,
Yeah.
you get kidney diseases and all this stuff because they are straying from their natural way of eating, and that's the same that
Right.
happens to us. Now we also live in a world too where we can't control what's always in our environment,
Right.
but the healthier you make yourself, then the quicker your body can eliminate anything that it shouldn't have.
Yes, without any cold or flu-like symptoms too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I know you guys talked before about sometimes, actually, a lot of times when people switch just over to fruit, you start seeing a lot of detox symptoms. And that's why I preach all the time. Start now. Don't wait till it's too late. Don't wait until you have a symptom. Start now. That way you can start slowly. You don't have to just, oh, you're eating nothing but grapes and water the rest of, however long. You want to be like, yeah, great. I'll do a smoothie in the morning and then I'll have a cooked meal for lunch and a cooked meal for dinner. And then a couple weeks later, maybe you have a smoothie in the morning, you have grapes for lunch, and then you have a cooked meal for dinner. And then eventually it's maybe a salad. And then eventually maybe you just eat grapes all day. I mean, you just experiment with your own body and see what you can, what your body can handle. I have no idea. I think I'm on 2 weeks, 3 weeks or whatever. I'm water, orange juice, grapes, strawberries, and banana. That's it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I'm not hungry at all, but I'm spending a lot of time with God, and I know I'm taking on my daily bread that way too. And I really think that is key factor there. And even if you don't want to spend time with God, spend time with your higher self, spend time with
Hmm.
nature, you have to be taking in some kind of mana.
Okay,
Yes.
and when you were saying that, Sarah, it totally made me think of the regenerative detox pyramid that
Mhm.
we have, and how, you just maybe you're at that acid mucus forming foods, and then you kind of level up to like the raw, you have everything raw until dinner, and then you level up, and now you're just doing more fruit, and then you level up, and you're doing juicing and water, and you level up, and then you kind of do what is it? Oh, a dry fast. I think I missed some stages in there, but it's just a process and you keep trying to improve every day. Yeah,
Mhm.
why wait?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it really, like we talked last week, it can be very overwhelming. So, and then it's not as enjoyable either. So, yeah, just
Yeah.
the best you can.
Yeah. Be an explorer. You're exploring your your internal health because everything comes from here. It comes from the heart. Um, and staying mentally, having clarity and stability to be able to try doing the grapes. If you can only do a few hours, do a few hours. If you can do a few days, do a few days. But listen to your body and feel how it's reacting. And if you need to shift to something else, shift to something else, and then go back to the grapes at a later time. Uh, but you have to give your body time to clear itself. I've even had people say, well, this is really working, but I'm going to stop because literally, they said this, I might lose my disability. I'm like,
Well,
okay.
to pay the
But
bills, I
see,
guess.
but again, it has to do with how you're thinking,
Yep. And I was gonna say
you
too,
know?
a lot of people don't really like the dark purple grapes at first, and that's okay. Just start
Yeah.
with the green. Start with the
Yeah,
At this
start with,
point, start with the cotton candy ones. I mean, who cares? Just
right.
start.
That's right.
It is surely
It's
better than, your fast food meal in a bag.
right. Right. And boy, there's
I
more and more of that.
I actually have a very interesting PDF about how to not as much as how to transition, but how to go from cooked food to raw foods and what the process is. If anyone is interested, I will send it to you guys anyway.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I can email that to you because I actually send it to everyone I talk to. And because it is part from how do I do this? How can I get from, eating all this junk to all the foods that we, need for healing? And I'm always like, don't do it too fast because then it's not sustainable. Do it slow. And I think I have a link to the mucusless foods list in there, and it's clear. There's a lot of food that you can eat that's healthy, and that's not necessarily all fruit. Transition. Take your time to transition, and I like what you said, Sarah, too, about we all do the best that we can, and but keep an eye on the foods that cause your symptoms and stay away from that. But yeah, I will see if I can get that maybe can get that list up after I did this one. Um, Yeah, this goes into the food allergies. I don't know how far you got with things, Katie or Sarah, if you got further into the
We ended
article.
right at hives.
Oh, okay. Because this is about all the food allergies. You know, you have your drug allergies and you get nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea, cramps. And according to the Merck manual, gastrointestinal symptoms from food are often secondary to digestive enzymes defects as in celiac disease and disaccharide, yeah, deficiency. And we can give it whatever name that we want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what name it has.
That's right.
And I think that actually that was the whole lesson mostly because um, now it goes into more normal digestion entails neither ingestion nor allergy. And yeah, I think, you know, if you have an allergy, you need to read this because you start looking at it so differently. And that is what we need to do. I always believe that we can tell people that a body can heal itself, but they have to believe it. And you have to understand it. Now, we do not want to understand in the medical sense, you know, but the way that Dr. Morris explains it and the simplicity, and I think let's stick with that one because that is easy to understand and you can experiment with yourself. I mean, I think we all do that, see how we respond to certain things and then come to the conclusion, yeah, actually we only feel good on the correct for our species correct foods. Okay, this even goes into allergy and hyperactivity in children, which is a very important topic because we see what is happening in children. And yeah, here they say already in 1930, Albert Rowe described a condition which he called food toxemia. In a book entitled Food Allergy, he and his son recounted numerous patients who had drowsiness, irritability, fatigue, weakness, slowness, and inability to behave. Well, not as bad as it nowadays. Maybe we had in our school classes, we had maybe one person, you know, who didn't behave, but now I think it is a little bit more. He devised very strict diets that appears to have helped many patients who had typical forms of allergy as well as the nervous system problems. Dr. Rowe firmly believed that foods as well as pollen and dust could contribute to psychological and nervous system problems in some patients. So even in the 30s and 40s and 50s, they were talking about that. And in the 70s, when I had a symptom, I was paralyzed from the neck down. And yeah, from the wrong foods, but back then we had no clue. Only when I mentioned that once because I knew what I had done and I explained that to them and they started laughing, the doctors, and they said, "Oh no, 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 absolutely no way. It could have my condition could have 11 causes. They tested them all, wanted to give me a medication for all of it. I was in my early 20s and I refused them all. And they got to a point that they actually refused to further help me. But I stayed there until I was away from the stress and the bad foods. And yeah, and stress was a big thing too. And as soon as I could walk, I walked out of the hospital, never had it again. But it is, listen to your body. I mean, this is majorly important and be aware of what you eat. Write it down. And I can send that to you too. I have this a daily what is it? Detox diary. Yeah, daily detox diary. And it's only, simple sheet of paper. You can do 2 days on one side, 2 days on the other side. And even if you only do it for a few days, weeks now, weeks, you get a better understanding how your body responds to certain things, Maybe you had a day that you didn't drink enough and you find yourself with a bad headache in the evening and you look at what you wrote down and it's like, oh yeah, I didn't drink enough. Because oftentimes we don't even think of that. or having a bad back pain. And we found, both my husband and I, that we could often easily solve that with just drinking a big glass of water and made the kidneys a little bit happier. So these are all the simple things, and we don't even think about that. And with the food pyramids, our food pyramids, detox pyramids, yeah, you can go from the standard American diet is now a standard world diet, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you know, you start leaving out all the animal foods, and then you start leaving out more cooked foods or fermented foods, but not all at once. You know, you pick one thing and it's like, okay, say goodbye to that one this week, or 2 weeks, and you it goes out, and then in a week or 2 weeks, the next thing goes out. And I'm not really for finding alternatives, as in fake meats, because that's lab created and it's not helping you either, and cause other problems. But you will get to a point that you are all raw. And all raw still can have nuts and seeds in it. But then your next step would be leave the nuts and the seeds out. And then and all raw, it can be, and what Sarah said, always do fruit in the morning. There's no ifs or buts about it. You do fruit in the morning, not coffee, fruit. And I don't mind if it's well, I don't mind. It doesn't matter. I should say it that way. If it is a bowl full of fruit, or it is a liter of orange juice, like I like to do, or watermelon juice, but you start with fruits. That's a good way to start a day. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
lunch can be a salad, and do the correct combination. I mean, I have information about that too. A nice big overview, including actually the pyramid. And your next step would be leaving those nuts and those seeds out. So now it's like your next step is fruit and veggies. And with veggies, I don't mean the raw cauliflower or that kind of stuff, but more all the variety of lettuces. And you still tomato and cucumbers, and then the next step would be that you do all fruit. It doesn't have to be smoothies or juices. No, just eat your fruit. Then you can do like a few days. You want to do all juices? Go ahead, do 3 days or so on juices. Then the next step on that pyramid would be a water fast, and you can do the lemon water fast or the master cleanse. And then it would be, and I think Dr. Morse actually removed that because so many mistakes are being made, is after water fast, people want to do dry fasting. I'm not really a fan of it. I mean, if you want to do a prolonged, like Dr. Morse says, up to 36 hours, never longer. And I did I think a little over 24 hours, and that was even when I had food poisoning. After that was like, yeah, I want to drink something. But now you are at that top level, and that doesn't mean that the next day you start at the bottom again. You turn now that pyramid upside down and you go the same way back as you went going up, because that is important for feeling good. And then you stick at the level where you do all raw. And my gosh, if you want to have a cooked food once in a while, enjoy. We will never say, I sure hope not, that like this is forbidden. Nothing is forbidden. It's always your choice. And
Right.
with some choices, you need to know the consequences. And if you want to find them out, I mean, go for it. I did. I know the consequences very well of not eating the right things, and then I start all over again. I do have to say, though, it's not the easiest way is doing it right the first time and not doing
That
it right and then go back to eating what you shouldn't eat and get sick and then start over again, because it's not easier than the first time. But anyway, we reached the bottom of the hour. So all in all, it's been an hour and a half again, and I have soon a client waiting. So unfortunately, I have to go. I hope to get some. I don't know, Sarah, were there any questions?
Nope, there was not. Just some hellos. But Lisa Lash did say when she was a young girl, I always had ragweed allergy in the summer. As I shifted my diet and lifestyle habits, I now don't even notice it. Also, during our early spring and heavy pollen, I was good. Proof of healthy terrain.
That's it.
Mhm.
That's it. So, because I said, it's like, do we have to wait 5 to 10 years for a healing option? While it can be, a few months even, by doing the right thing. Is it easier to take a pill and keep doing what you do? Yeah, maybe, but keep doing what you're doing and take that pill that suppresses the symptoms doesn't mean that you're healing. And I really, really want to get that in people's heads. It's like you are with anything, all the supplements and the chemicals, the pharmaceuticals, it suppresses the symptoms, it doesn't heal anything, and eventually you will get other problems. And
Surgeries.
don't wait. I think I heard Sarah say that. Don't wait. Some people wait a lot, but I have no symptoms. I'm fine. I'm doing great. Yeah, until you don't. And or maybe you are a person who is so used to the aches and pains, like I was, and like, yeah, well, that's just part of life. It's like, no, it's not. I like that so much when Dr. Moore said that when you're really healthy, you don't feel anything. It's like, you walk on clouds. Nothing hurts. There's no muscle pain. There's no nothing. I don't know how many people of us really experience that, but wouldn't that be wonderful?
It would be. It would
Mhm.
be fantastic. And it's available because we're in duality. So uh, if we can be down on the low and disease, we can be high on the end of healing. That's Wellville and Hellville. Um, but we keep running back to the same people. I watched a video about this young woman and her daughter, and the doctor was saying that the baby had to have her shot, and she goes, "Well, I think I'm going to get a second opinion." And he goes, "I am your second opinion. I am your only opinion. I am your doctor. I'm doing this for the health of your children, and those children need to be vaccinated to protect them." And she goes, "So you're forcing me?" He goes, "No, I'm not forcing you. I'm going to turn you into the whatever the organization is."
Yeah.
She goes, "So you're forcing me?" No, no, I'm just telling you, I am your first opinion. I am your second opinion. And if you don't do what I say, I'm going to have, by law, I have to turn you in and they can take your children. She goes, "Then you're forcing me." No, no, I'm not. I was like, they don't even know when they're forcing people to do stuff because it involves money. When that child gets vaccinated, that doctor gets money, he gets bonuses. They can have literally, I think it's either 5 or 6 thousand patients that they vaccinate. That's an extra $500,000 a year in their income just
Yeah,
because they
well, you have
vaccinated the
you have
children.
to be evil to do that. I mean, that's completely crazy.
I
I
know.
just wanna I have that on my screen now. It's about the allergies and the hyperactive child. And there's Dr. Doris J. Rabb describes the symptoms of children who are considered to be allergic and
Mm.
have a central nervous system diet. I cannot pronounce that word. Diathesis,
Oh,
diathesis.
dialysis?
No, not
No.
dialysis.
Okay.
But they call these nervous system symptoms hyperactive, wild, unrestrained, talkative, explosive, stuttering, constant, inattentive,
Mhm.
disruptive, impulsive, short attention span, restless legs, finger tapping, clumsiness, incoordination, tremor, insomnia, nightmares, inability to fall asleep, nervous, irritable, upset, short-tempered, high-strung, excitable, agitated, moody, tired, weak, weary, exhausted, listless, depressed, easily moved to tears, easily hurt, highly sensitive to odor, light, sound, pain, and cold. Now, isn't that something that you can change that with the correct diet?
Yeah, it's also interesting that when you read that, you don't think you have an option.
Yeah,
right?
so it's like when you have children, please get this lesson. And it's like a lesson. It easy and it talks here about easy problems, which what I had from 6 months old to 12 years old, twice a year. Repeated formation of fluid behind eardrums, infections. But it is the swelling of lymph nodes in the neck. It's pale, dark eye circles, puffiness around the eye, wearing pants in daytime or in bed. Bladder problems. I know bladder problems go away with the correct diet.
Hmm.
And older people too. I mean, people 60s, 70s who have, could be minor, can be major leakage. It will get better when you are on high fruit with the lettuces, with, you do the detox and your body gets stronger. And well, let me see what else. Oh yeah, they talk here about all the food dyes, milk, wheat, sugar, eggs, chocolate. They talk about wheat, about eggs, and finding the cause behind a cause, behind the cause. He was talking actually, this is interesting. I'm going to read this. Yeah, hay fever. We didn't even get to that. While living near Buffalo, New York, I attended a lecture given by Doris Rapp on hyperactivity in children. During the lecture, she showed movies of children who were under her care who demonstrated severe reactions to certain foods. One child was shown calmly playing with some toys in her office. He was then given a slice of Wonder Bread. Who doesn't know Wonder Bread? Even I, from the
Mm.
movies, I know about it.
Mm.
He was instructed to eat the entire slice. Before the child had it half eaten, he started throwing temper tantrums, crying, whining, etc. He would throw things across the room, and at one point he tried to hit his mother and was apparently almost entirely out of control. What would cause such a sudden change in behavior? The food had not even had time to begin digestion and enter into the bloodstream. Why would a child exhibit such behavior when another child would not after eating the same food? This child's body was in such a toxic condition, and his nervous system and brain had become so sensitized that an immediate severe reaction took place as soon as the exciting agent entered the body. What caused this toxic condition? This is where we get to the underlying reason for this child's allergy. The primary cause is unhealthful living. Wrong food is usually a major consideration. No child who eats only fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds in their raw and unadulterated form will demonstrate such abnormal behavior. In addition to this, it is important that all of the other conditions for health are met, that these are proper rest and sleep, exercise, sunshine, fresh air, and pure water. When these conditions are met, the body will heal and maintain a healthy state. Now, yeah, I don't, well, I have a few more minutes. 'Cause the hay fever, it is like so many people are talking about that.
Mhm.
Um, well, it's also an inflammation of the mucous membrane, Schneiderian membrane of the nose, often involve the lining membrane of the eyes, throat, larynx,
Yeah.
larynx,
Larynx.
yeah, and bronchial tubes. The catarrh
Mhm.
is continue. Hey, here's something missing. But is particularly subject to increase in severity of symptoms in the months May, June, July, and August. According to the Merck manual, high fever is generally induced by wind-borne pollens. The spring type is said to due to three pollens. I need to edit this stuff. Like oak, elm, maple, alder, birch, cottonwood. The summer type is due to grass pollens, sheep sorrel, English plantain. The fall type is due to wheat pollen, like ragweed. Occasionally, hay fever is said to be due to airborne fungus spores. Geographical difference is said to have an effect. I heard, by the way, Gary, that Arizona has actually the most people with allergies.
Yeah, they in parts of California they call it the quartzite crud because it's like a fungus that's in the sand. And from what I heard, it's from urine and feces from the animals, and it gets in the sand, and then it turns to like a powder, and then it blows through the air, and you breathe it in.
Oh
Isn't that
yeah,
nice?
I heard that. I was only in California. I have a client who has that, and he got
Yes.
very sick because of it.
Oh, you get you
Yeah,
get really
yeah,
and the sickness is your body trying to detox it out.
right. It's just the same as all the other things.
Right. That's right.
So we talk here about, usually treatment for hay fever. My mother used a medication back then, and we go back to the 50s, called Atrifin. Well, it burned out
I
whatever was
remember
in
that.
her nose. The whole bones were gone.
Yep.
And she used that for probably at least 30 years of her life. Every
There
day.
you go.
Every day.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, are you for real? Are you for real? What does
Yeah.
a teenager think? You don't need that. But anyway, otherwise she was sneezing, and to prevent the sneezing, she didn't even let it come to the sneezing, but to prevent it, and she took it, and she was
Mhm.
one who needed her illnesses that her
Yeah.
whole life. That is, and she still made it to almost 89. So what do I say?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, they talk about corticoid hormones. Yeah, we not even go into the medication for that and the treatment, because it's not, antihistamines. I know some people need to do that because they're totally miserable, but it's not healing. It's not going away. And now learning, and this is new for me too, but with whatever I learned in the last few years, it was like, well, this is how it has to be. There's even allergies come from, your body is easily irritated with certain things. And what I was allergic to, I mean, I think nowadays, if you or I would go into an area or a room where everybody is smoking, I think we would pass out.
Yeah.
And I think that is for everyone. It's like it's not
Yeah.
a healthy thing. And
Right.
they talk about the causes. Well, and they have that word here again, Sarah, emanations from horses. So it's the second time that it comes
Yeah,
here.
I gotta look that up.
So I'll try to look up again. Pull it back up
Yeah.
again.
I'm sorry?
Can you pull it back up again?
Yeah, you
There.
read it.
EMA.
Emanations. Um, yeah, what to do if you have symptoms of allergies? Detox.
And sometimes, like this word emanation, whatever that is telling us it's negative. Well, if you've been around horses your whole life and never had an issue, looking it up and studying it can put it in your frequency, and then you will manifest it into your reality. So
Oh
that's what's so
boy. So,
dangerous.
okay,
Well, they
Gary.
are respiratory symptoms in horses,
Yeah.
but they can also be
Yeah,
syndromes
okay.
and stuff like that. So,
Gary, this is what is happening when we have a symptom, and I did it. Of course, who doesn't? You have a symptom, you start looking it up on the internet.
Yeah.
Now you get that whole array, and of course you go to another site and see if you get the same one, and you are
Right.
like, oh my God. So there's a lot of self-diagnosis. So we get to talk to people who now believe they have cancer because they have this or this or this symptom.
Right.
And this morning when we talked briefly before the chat, and I told you, whatever it is, whatever I would go through, I don't want to give it a name.
Right.
I don't. I just don't want to
Right.
give it a
That,
name.
that
I
is
don't
that
care
is
what it is.
something that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
why.
care what it is. It gives me a signal that something is not right. So now
Right.
I have the choice to do something about it. So that is where, but we get to talk to a lot of people too, is about, people go through the pharmaceutical industry, follow their treatment, and get told it's in remission, and then 2 years later it's in their brain and their bones and their colon and wherever, and then they come to us, and that's we hope that when you have a symptom or and I know we actually preaching to the choir because people who come here pretty much know about all these things. But you probably have, your family, your friends. You can share these videos and you can share these articles, and then let them decide, if they want to do something about their situation. So there's a choice, and we share this here freely. Oh, and what is not free, and I think I want to say that because if you are looking on a one-on-one session with either one of us, I mean the emails or the contact ways are in the description of this video, in any video actually that we put up, a live video that is. But this week, and I think it is only for a few days, the Dr. Morse's team lowered the consultation with, or you get a 25% discount, which is, quite big
Yeah.
number. And that is from today until, I think they said it was June 1st. Isn't that Sunday? So it's only a few days. So a 60 to 90-minute consultation with me, and it only works when you go to drmorses.com, or you go through, what is the other link that I have for this? cellularbotanicals.com goes to that same link. And you will see there is they have a little quiz to see which one of the consultations would be best for you. You can do 30 minutes, 60 to 90 minutes. You can do the iridology. But on a consultation, you get 25% discount. So if you were looking into it, and now is the time. And it is fruit time. I mean, if you are in the United States, it is a great time to get a lot of fruit. Watermelon season is here, at least in Florida. And we get great seeded, not organic, but big seeded watermelons. I juiced them. I got 7 liters of juice out of it. And, that's food for 2 days.
Yeah.
For $10. Hey, hello.
Super hydrating too.
Yeah, and then you can't complain that, going on fruit is so expensive. But and yeah, you can eat it. You can even make ice cream, or nice cream, as they now say. But and soon we will have the dark grape season. I personally won't eat the green grapes. They actually give me stomach ache. It's like they're not ripe. So I go for the red ones. And what you mentioned, Sarah, not everybody likes the really black ones. I think they're a lot sweeter, actually. But there are red ones too, and they are definitely a step up from the green ones. But at any time, we do what we can. And I would say send me an email with whatever you're interested in, and I'll get it out to you. And I wish everyone an absolutely wonderful and blessed day with a lot of fruit. And don't forget your water. Don't forget to drink your water.
Water
So
super
guys, thank you again for being here. And no clue what next week will bring us. We'll figure it out in the next few days. And
Right.
till soon again.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Katie, and everyone listening.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Bye. Love you all.
Love y'all.
Yeah, much love to everyone.